Hi, I'm Jocelyn Jean-Louis Hardrick. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I started writing children's books because 20 years ago I was an elementary school teacher and I was really bad at it actually. I loved the kids, but I was just the classroom management, right? It's like trying to get all those young kids to sit down at the same time and pay attention and engage in the lessons. So I struggled with that, but I recognized that the only time they really stood still and followed my instructions and became engaged was when I would read them a picture book. So there's power in storytelling is what I realized then. And even adults, like, people reading stories to them. So fast forward 20 years later, I am a lawyer, and I've kind of had the idea that I wanted to write children's books, but I never, took any steps. I bought a book about how to write children's books, but I never read it. I signed up for a class, but I never took the class. And I was actually pregnant with my first son, and one of my coworkers gave me a book as a baby shower gift. I just met her that week, and I said, "Oh, thank you, I love books." And then I looked down and her name was on it, and I said, "Wait a minute, did you write this book?" She said, "Oh yeah, I can show you how to do it. I love doing it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do it." So I got encouraged to do it, and I wrote my first book about my son. It's called Little George's Garden Song, and it's a rhyming kind of poem about my son sitting kind of in the yard and listening to all the insects, because he always liked doing that when he was a kid. So I just kind of put it together as a little project, bought a little book. It wasn't like professional or anything. I shared it with some people and they're like, "This is awesome. You need to like turn it into an actual book." I thought, really? I said, "Well, let me see how that works." And so I started to do research about children's books. I started to see some of the statistics out there about representation in children's books. And I'm thinking, 40 years ago when I was learning how to read, it was see Spot run, see Jake climb, those kinds of things. And Spot and Jake and Jane never looked like anybody in my neighborhood, right? But I was shocked that it was still the same way 40 years later. They had all these statistics that said that there were more books with inanimate objects as the main character than people of color. And my jaw dropped. So I realized not only was this something that I can get into because it brings me joy, but there was a need that I could help fill. And so I decided to just become a self-published author so that I can get the books directly into the hands of people who want them. I don't have to go through all the gatekeepers, right? Who to get to decide if your book is good enough. I decide my book is good enough and I put it out there. And the feedback has been outstanding, and it allows me to give books to nonprofits. I've had hundreds of books given directly to kids. I've gotten to sign the books and put their names in a little message and see their smiles. And listen, kids love reading and they love to be read to. And here's the thing I do. I put a little message in there for the adults because I know an adult's going to read it to that kid. So it's a great way to reach people with the messages that I have, the messages of diversity, the message of, inclusiveness, and celebrating, everything that we are. So I hope you enjoy my books and this YouTube channel. Make sure you share, subscribe, and like, and I'll see you next time.